Welcome everyone for week number 3. Today we will discuss about application development. We are together for about 2 hours, and today with me I have Bettina. Hi Bettina, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Nice, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, it's the first time for you, right? It will be fine. We will have fun. So it's not you and I today. Of course, we are presenting, but we do have the full crew behind us as usual. So people answering questions on the YouTube chat and also on Discord. And if you do have questions during the week, you go to community.datastax.com, where is the forum, and you get full threads to answer questions. All right. So just a recap. So this is week 3. And I wanted you to know that until now, we do have about 11,000 registration. It's just huge for a training like that. In week 1, we had about 18,000 views. Week 2, 9,000 views. But hey, we see how much people get involved and engaged with the week passing by. And as you can see, a lot of you already done the exercise.
It's amazing.
I love that. So much engagement.
Yeah, thanks so much for practicing so much and asking so many questions. It's amazing.
So this is now week 3, and it's now time to reveal our evil plan. So week 1 and 2 was a lot about theory. What is Apache Cassandra, internals, architectures, data modeling, and it was required to be able to build application on top of Cassandra. But our goal is really to enable you to build and to implement applications. So today we are moving to application development, implementing create, read, update, delete operations using the drivers. Next week will be all about REST API, GraphQL, gRPC, how to package these CRUD services as an app. And as you can see, moving on, we will put both Cassandra and the app in Kubernetes, externalize everything, test, and finally move that to a real cloud provider. Sound exciting, right? Okay. Oh, yeah, so many people just telling good morning, everyone. So happy to have you. So for today, let's see. First, housekeeping as usual. This is an online workshop. You don't have to install anything. We provide you what you need, watching the stream, doing the exercise online. But still, for today, because this is week 3, we expect you to have at least the Astra instance created in week 1 and basic understanding of Cassandra data modeling, which we covered in week 2. But even if we didn't attend the week, in the exercise, we're starting all over. And if you go to the exercise pages, you can see that we also explain how to create an Astra instance again. The exercise, I will show you code in the 4 languages, Node.js, Python, Java, and C#, and you will be able to do the exercise using Node, Python, and Java, but no C# for the exercise today.
But you don't have to do them in all of the languages, right? Just the language that you like to do.
Exactly. So. And also, I tend to do the exercise very quickly, like a walkthrough in front of you. Don't worry if I'm going too fast. The idea is also for you to reproduce the exercise with the language you like at home during the homework, at your own pace during the week. And we will be there to answer your question if you run into any trouble. But let's see, you should be able to catch up and follow me in the first exercise. I have no doubt.
So don't forget, you can always ask on community if you have any really complex questions. We can then answer in more detail, and we really want to help you. So
exactly. Yeah, it's always easy on community to have a thread and multiple answers to troubleshoot.
Exactly.
If you do have a small question, we can answer in a few words. Totally fine. Discord and YouTube are there for that. But if you are stuck with the VM, for instance, it's as well good to move to community to get a troubleshoot. Okay, so we are live both on YouTube and Twitch, but Twitch is kind of a backup for us. We don't really follow the question there, so please stay with us on YouTube. For the question, also use Discord. We talk 2 times about the community. We will do an exercise using Cassandra as a service in the cloud. It's a service provided by DataStax called Astra. All the materials for today are on GitHub. All the links for today are below the video in the show notes. And today, to do the exercise, we introduce a new tool called Gitpod, which is a full IDE in the cloud. We will see in a minute when we go to GitHub, browse the content, you will see a huge button open in Gitpod and everything will be set up for you. All right, so let's...
So nothing to install.
Yes.
Really important. You don't have to install anything.
Exactly. So as usual, let's start with three small questions just to know how you are doing with the homework until now and what is your profile. So for today, the MENTI code is 920588. Again, it's written below the video. It's also here written in big. When I will switch to Mentimeter screen, see that the code is still at the top of the screen, okay? 920588. Yes, and Bettina just write the code on the YouTube chat as well. Thank you. All right, so I will go to the next slide before starting. So please, again, give me a thumb up, or I'm just in front of the thumb up button. What if I do that? Can you see the thumb up now? Yeah, you can see them. 80. Let's wait for 100 people to join us on the quiz. No, it's not a quiz for now. You know, remember the first part is, you know, casual questions. We are doing some training exercises and then we move to quiz, and quiz is serious. Points and swag to win. Okay, I think we can move on. I don't see any thumb up anymore. Okay, first question for you is, where are you in the workshop series? Are you still working on week 1? You did week 1 and still working week 2, week 1 and 2 complete. Yeah, and also, you know, hi for people just clicking on the lives. That's I hope you will enjoy the experience. We are live, answering questions on the chat. If you like it, yeah, be able, you know, feel free to join us. We are there every week, same times, and we are doing an 8-week training on Cassandra. And if you only watch workshops, okay, sometimes you may be lost, or you will lack some practice, but still, I think we are following something very progressive approach. You should be able to follow up.
And everything is recorded and you can catch up. And if you haven't done your homework from last week, it's not a huge deal. You can catch up.
Exactly.
Okay?
Yes, you can totally catch up, and yeah. And to know, there is no real deadline for the exercise, at least the last week, week 8, which is August 26th, where we will see who does the exercise. Okay, we have the quota. Let's move to next question. Which role describes you the best? As we told you, most of our content is Cassandra Developer Workshop, very oriented to developing. But still, in the second half, we will deal a lot about Kubernetes, and the reason is how much operation do we put there. You know, let's adapt the content for your profile. Okay, backend developer, data architect, front-end developer as well. Nice. So we do have the exercise in JavaScript. Okay, let me mute this guy. Okay. All right, and last question. which programming language are you familiar with? Python, Java, C#. Okay, so remember, for people fond of C#.
Oh, it's
Yeah, say it again. Yeah, so for people fond of C#, we will show the code in C#, but the exercises are not in C# because there is a total different setup for GitHub to work with C#. Okay, a lot of Python and Java, totally fine, and we are covered then. Oh, so totally fine. We have Java, Python, and JavaScript for you as exercises. All right, so thank you very much for these questions. And let's now move. Oh, don't close this tab because remember, we will go back there and do the quiz there. All right, so during the next 2 weeks, we will build an application, okay, all together. Today we are starting with the backend services, create, read, update, delete in Cassandra. And next week we will have the full application working on your laptop. So let me show you what it looks like. All right, so moving to demo mode, okay. So here we can see I do have a UI, getting started with Astra. And what I will do, so this is my cockpit with my instrument, I will launch a new journey. So what about the spacecraft? Let's say workshop. Workshop rocket 2. Let's see. And summary, EMEA APAC session. Okay, so I'm created a journey and I'm taking off. And boom, now I'm moving in the space. And during my travel, I record multiple metrics: speed, pressure, temperature, and location over time. This is a time series, right? If you did the DS220, you will immediately pick up which kind of data model we will use. So we are traveling, okay? And when we finally reach 1000 points, the journey is complete. You have how much time did it last. And on the side, I do have access to all the journey I have triggered available in my database. So what are the queries in this application? I want to list the journeys. I want to get the details for one journey in the summary. I want to be able to record the metrics over time. I want to be able to take off and land. And so now let's play the developer role. The business people asked me to develop this application. Let's see how we do that. And here is our rocket. So if you complete DS220, this workflow look familiar. This is indeed the workflow you need to follow to be able to build your data model with Cassandra. It's quite it's self-describing, and it's small steps, baby steps, and you finally reach what you expect. So let's see for our use case. First, we need the application workflow. I told you for the spacecraft, there is a catalog, so we need to look up all the journey for a spacecraft. We need to look at the state of a journey. Is it started or not? Create a new one. This is what I did, get the summary. And when the rocket is traveling, we want to save the readings over time. And later on, we would like to be able to analyze, the speed over time or pressure over time for each journey. And we consider that there won't be more than 100,000 records per journey. Remember not to have too big partitions. Yeah, week 1 reminders. All right. Now, what about the conceptual data model? Well, you have the journey with its attributes, summary, active, spacecraft start, and UID. And for this journey, you will have multiple readings for speed, temperatures, pressure, and location. Each time it's the table look pretty close, we simply just switch from speed to temperature to pressure to location. So we have the two assets needed to start working on the data model. So let's see. The first is to map from conceptual to logical. So I do have multiple queries, and I think that I can do every query using these 5 tables. I have a table for the journey catalog and 1 table for each dimension. So I want to list the journey for a spacecraft. The spacecraft is partition key. Journey ID could be part of the primary key to ensure unicity. And I would like to have the latest journey at the top of my UI just to be able to see the latest. So let's see how we do that. We do have the start time, end time, if the journey is active or not, and the small description I put in the UI. For the table, time series like, we do have the spacecraft name, journey ID as partition key. Okay, so now by query this partition key, I will have all the metrics for speed relating to this journey. This is what we want to do. And we introduce the reading times to first sort the values, descending order, and also to introduce you to get unicity. So you might think, why didn't you put all the time series in a single tables? You know, you could totally do spacecraft journey ID as partition key, and then speed, pressure, temperature, location at multiple column. Yeah, I feel that for this one, we consider that you won't record the same metric at the same times, and so each sensor is independent this way. But if for some reason all the sensor will send the value at the same times, having a single table is not that bad design. Okay, and now we can move to physical data model. Spacecraft is a text, journey ID is both timestamp and UID, what we call a time UID. Start and end are timestamped, active boolean, summary text, and same for the metrics tables. And with that, we are done. Now we can go to Cassandra Query Language DDL, and we do have everything we need to start creating this table for our use case. And you know what? This is exactly what you will do now. All right, exercises. So if you are with us with week 1, week 3, you are quite familiar with the concept of notebooks. If not, let me show it to you quickly. But for those who are really familiar, just grab the spacecraft.tar file and start doing the exercise. Okay, so all the materials is available on DataStax Academy / Cassandra Workshop series. And everything you need for today is obviously in week 3. Okay? And so if you browse the README there, this is all you need. So first, create your Astra instance. Remember, we consider that you already have your own Astra instance, but if not, just follow the instruction. Second is the spacecraft notebook. So I do have a table of content to go immediately to exercise, but I just brought in front of you. It's the spacecraft notebook. Okay, so to import the spacecraft notebook, okay, here is the link, download link. To avoid any issue, maybe you should simply download the full GitHub repo just to have this file, because here I can totally just click the link and download this file. As you can see, it's downloaded on my laptop here, but for some reason, some of you, depending on the browser, are not really able to do that because I think it's Windows telling you that the tar is corrupted, which is not. So simply download the full repo and do the next operation once everything has been downloaded. So see, the tar is downloaded locally. Okay.
So if you get problems when you're importing the notebook, that it's corrupted or any other errors, it is because you didn't download it in a raw format. You need to download it in the raw format. So the link should have raw in it.
Exactly. Exactly. And to have the raw format, this is what I do. So I go to notebooks. See, this is a notebook, but if I click there, see, it just text. This is not what we want. Here there is a row, and I click there, then I will download the file. But as I told you, downloading the full repo with the download zip button at the root of the GitHub repo, like any other GitHub, should also have you covered to get the file locally. Okay, so now I do have the file locally. Let me go to Astra. Okay, so at this point you do have your Astra instance, and I will open the Developer Studio. So to open the Developer Studio, remember, launch now on the home page of DataStax Astra. Here it is, and I can drag and drop the file. Okay, show in folder. Okay, and I will drag and drop the file, but I think this is the 5th time I'm doing it, but let's do it again. And once done, it will open. Okay, so now it's open in front of me. All right, so you should work with the key space name killer video if you use the constant we have provided you in the previous week. You may notice that I'm using another one, but that's just me because I do have my Astra instance set up like that. But you know, use killer video. Oh, and you know, I still got this no schema selected. So when I don't see the schema on the left part of the screen, I simply refresh DataStax Studio. Closing that. Okay, let's see how it goes. Okay, and now I do have my, see, I do have killer video and to-do app, but I will create everything in to-do app. Okay, so working with Journey, spacecraft catalog, yes, so I will execute to create the first table, which is creating the Journey catalog. Okay, I should have no result because it has been created, and create table if not exist. If the table were not exist at the first place, you know what, I was not able to do the demo. So for me, I don't really need to recreate the tables.
Yeah, Cedric, you're making a really good point here, is that you need to do the notebook in order to set up the schema for your code.
Exactly.
Or your demo won't run. So the notebook and the schema is really important.
Yes.
So that's the very first step.
Okay, so let this guy creating these tables. I do the same for spacecraft speed. Oh, an error queue is not happy. What's happening? Error writing. So how does my database behave? I can check the health, like everybody else. Is there any compaction happening? No. You know what? Sometimes I simply clear my data in the browser just to be sure, and refresh Astra. Okay, go to the studio again. Maybe it would be better. Yeah, it's fast, definitively faster. Maybe something in my browser cache. Okay, so executing cell number 1. Let's see, and now it's, as you can see, it's very, very fast. Something with my browser cache. Okay, and I'm also now truncated all my tables because I've executed one journey with you, so my tables are not empty. I want to start like you with a fresh tables. Okay, so now I'm inserting, as you can see, 3 journeys. And if I list what it looks like, see, each time I simply execute the cell by run local quorum like that. So now I do have Apollo 11, Vostok 1, Soyuz 2. Okay, and those are the 3 lines I've written there. And now you can see spacecraft, journey ID, start and active summary. Okay, those are some rows to be inserted in metrics table: speed, location, temperatures, pressures.
Let me just clarify something, Cedric.
Yes.
There's a few questions about the key space. So in the past, you set up the killer video key space, and you can continue using that.
Yeah, totally.
It's only that Cedric has the to-do app in his setup, but ignore that. Use the killer video and you'll be fine.
Yes, exactly. We, on all the exercise we made, we defined all the SQL statement on purpose to not explicitly, telling you the key space. That way you use the key space you like, but 99% of you using killer video. This is just me using to-do app, because that's part of my setup. But never mind, that's just a name.
And can you zoom in a little bit on the notebook, Cedric? Is that possible? So it's easier to read?
Yes, of course.
That would be awesome.
What about now? Yeah, okay. Thank you. All right, so we have created some metrics, and see now, let's list all the query we need to make, because the exercise will be exactly implementing each of these queries. So first, you need to list all the journey for spacecraft. This is what we call 4A. Get the detail of a journey, 4B, and get the instrument reading for a journey, 4C. 4A, 4B, 4C. This will be the 3 last exercise. Why? Because before reading journey, you need to insert the journey in the database, right? so 4A, get all the journey for a spacecraft. Okay. Then having all end and start and end, so is not active anymore. And here I get the query for the speed, 4C, for the pressure, for the location, see, location, for the temperatures, for the pressure. See, it's each time more or less the same table, only what change is pressure and unit. But if I show you the full table, like here, then each time I get my spacecraft, journey ID, reading time, and then the 2 values I just showed you. All right. So now what about create, update, and delete? So first, we need to create a journey. So here I will create Crew Dragon 9 journey. All right. As you can see, I did not provide start or end, because for now I'm just creating the journey and nothing happened. So active is false. Query number 2, I want to make my spacecraft take off. So I will set the active to true, and I will update the start time, like that. And now if I show you what's in my DB, okay, no result. Yes. The reason is not the proper UID. Never mind. You should have. You know what? Let's use the same journey, will you? Okay, here we go. So now our journey is started. I do have a start. It's active. So what I would like to do now is inserting some metrics: speed, location, temperature. I think I put two of each, or 1 of each, just to get you what are the query you want to execute, because those are the query you will use in the exercise. And when I'm done, I put active to false. I put the end date, and so this is the landing. And now if I look at what my database look like, Now I can see that the journey is not active anymore, and I do have an end date. Okay, create journey, takeoff, send metrics, landing. And we are done with this exercise. All right. Okay. Let's move back to slide. I'm just looking at question slide. I think everybody following pretty well. All right. Totally on time. Okay. Now let's connect up. Done for notebooks. Now let's talk about code, will you? Finally, after 2 weeks and 1 hour and 30 minutes. So to connect to Cassandra, you will use the drivers, DataStax drivers. Those are libraries you will embed it in your app. Just define the dependency and it will show up in your app. But those drivers are very clever. A lot of things going on there. First, at the connectivity level. If for some reason you lost connection between your app and Cassandra, the driver will try to reconnect you. If a query failed, the driver will retry the query for you. You don't have to do anything. It's done by the drivers. In first week, remember the nice diagram with the token ranges and where a client came with a request and one of the node getting the request became the coordinator node and then put the data to the replica. Well, at the client level, it is token aware. That means the client knows where are the replica. So when I finally want to insert something in Cassandra, the drivers knows it will contact one of the replica to become the coordinator node to be as fast as possible. And so if you do consistency level 1, then the coordinator node just will go look at the data locally and give you back the answer very, very fast. You are most faster than picking one of the node randomly as your coordinator. Very clever driver there. It's doing the connection pooling and also the else check. So if one of your node goes down, well, the driver will notice because it's doing else check and won't send any new request to this guy until he's back online. Last but not least, anything related to security is there. So authentication, authorization, SSL, and by the way, you will see in a minute that to connect to Astra, you need some kind of SSL and authentication. Okay, that's for connectivity. Now, when you want to query, of course, you can execute some Cassandra query language request like that, but you can also act on the schema, creating tables, creating key space, and you can interact with Cassandra using synchronous queries. So today it will be mostly synchronous, except the Node.js, which is always fully async. You can do asynchronous, and also you can do some reactive stuff now. You do have some tools to help you building queries called Query Builder, and some helpers and support function to be as fast as possible. First is compression, and second is paging, because I tell you right now, every request in Cassandra is paged. If your tables contain billions and billions of rows, you don't want to get everything when you do select star from the table in one call, because best case scenario, you have less data, less memory than Cassandra, then you blow up out of memory, and worst case scenario, you do have more memory than the node, and the node can go out of memory. All right, and then we'll see later there is object mapping and Spring support. All right. Moving on. So I told you about the drivers, the library. So first things to do would be to install the drivers. So pay attention, if you do the exercise using Node and Python, you will have to type this command, npm install Cassandra driver or pip install Cassandra driver to download the drivers. If you are using Maven, you will also do Maven clean compile to download what you need. Okay.
Actually, let's repeat that, because that question came up so many times yesterday when we did the same stream. You have to install the drivers when you're in Git pod, right? You have to do the pip3 install driver or the npm install. Otherwise, you won't be able to exercise these demos.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
So remember it.
Yeah, you know, speaking of Gitpod, you make me remember that Gitpod can take a while to start up. So during the time I'm explaining about connectivity to Cassandra, you can go to GitHub. So exercise 2 is completed. And see, exercise 3 will be connected to Cassandra. And here you do have a button open in Gitpod. So let's right click and open link in a new tab. Because if you click the button, it will open in the same window.
And you need a GitHub login for
Exactly.
it, right? So if you don't have a GitHub login, quickly set that up, and then you can follow along when we come to this point. Okay?
Yes. So it will take a while. See, it will download some Docker image to have your IDE ready. Sometimes it takes up to 5 minutes, and this is why I just ask you to do that now, because when I will finally arrive to the exercise tab, you will be ready. Okay.
Yeah, and yesterday we did it all at the same time, and it took ages for everybody.
Yeah, DDoS of Gitpod from DataStax. All right. So yeah, install the driver. So read the exercise. This is really first step 1 of the exercise. Okay, so now I want to connect to Cassandra. I will use one IP of the node, which is called a contact point. Only one is required. But if for some reason, for those very, very first connection, the contact point is down, it's recommended to have just another one as a backup, okay? Because when the connection is established with one node, Cassandra will send back to the client the topology of the full cluster. And now the client is aware of all the nodes, all the data center, all the rings, and will be able to load balance the request. Not only that, as I told you, the driver is also aware of the token now. Full topology of the cluster. So it's really for the very, very first connection that having 2 contact points is better in case of one is down. But that's, should not be really the case. So that being said, this is what the code look like. And each time I will introduce a new concept, this is what I show you, the code for the 4 languages. You don't have to learn that by heart. Remember, the slides are in GitHub, so you can totally download the slide. So let's see. Contact points are a list, array. So if you look at Python and Node, you totally notice that contact point is an array. You provide the local data center, the key space name, and credential, user password. And for Cassandra and C#, this is more fluent API. So we are using add contact point, add contact point, add contact point. You might notice that for Java, we have introduced the port number. So 9042 is a default port to interact with any Cassandra. It's not mandatory to provide the port if using the default one. It's also available in the other language. I just didn't provide you sample here. Just checking. Yeah, okay, no question. Can move on. Okay. All right, no question. Moving on. But hey, from the beginning, we are working with Astra, and Astra is full web, no IP to provide, right? So how do we do? Well, the trick is Astra provides some proxy, a load balancer, and as a developer, you will connect to this load balancer. And for that, what we will do is we will download a zip file from Astra named Secure Connect Bundle and use that to connect to Astra. Within this bundle in the zip, you do have some strong certificate, X509 certificates, to enable a two-way TLS authenticated connection. That kind of a secure socket between you and Astra. When this channel is open, then the driver can do everything it does before, but using something called server name indication. And now it can still do else check, retry, load balancing, and instead of just providing IP, adding some SNI instruction in the communication with the load balancer, and the load balancer will route each query to the proper node. This is how it works. And this way there is no SPOF. The load balancer is redundant, there is no single point of failure. It's all based on SNI, okay? And this is the reason why we need to download the zip file to connect to Astra.
I said, like, do you want to show again where you download that?
The secure downloader?
Someone got a little bit
yeah,
lost.
So it's also,
on
I will go that right after that. I show the code and then show the secure bundle. That's totally part of the exercise.
Perfect.
Yeah, so there is really some, if you go to the exercise, there is screenshots and even, zooming on one link to use. We will go that with the exercise.
Cool.
Okay, so, and now exercise just after this slide, to be honest. Just in the flow, if you look at the code, now the only things that change from contact point, from Cassandra local to Astra, is the contact point has been replaced by Cloud Secure Bundle. So Java you get with Cloud Secure Bundle, Python you get a new object cloud with the Secure Connect Bundle, secure.zip, and for Python same, you do have a cloud new key, and for C# a new with Cloud Secure Connection Bundle. So again, Java and C# are pretty close, Flint API, some using some uppercase and some other, but except from that, it's pretty the same API. Okay. You are using either a session or a client, okay, when you are connected to Cassandra, and those objects are stateful. Remember, the session opened a TCP socket with all the nodes in Cassandra. And that means that if you don't close properly the session, those TCP connection remains open. What you want to do is add a shutdown hook. When the application stops, you will also explicitly shut down the session or close the session. And by the way, you will see in the exercise that each time we provide either shutdown or close method to close TCP connection properly. Okay, so now let's do the exercise, and yes, indeed, do it very slow to just show how to download this bundle.
So when we go to Astra now, I think there's been a few questions about the nature of Astra. It is totally production ready, and we have customers using it already. So this is not just a demo app for you guys. This is a production database as a service.
Yes, exactly. So let's move to, yeah, so as you can see, my Git pod is now started. But never mind. Let's go to the exercise like you would do. Okay, I just open Git pod. Okay, this is the expected output. 3B, how to download the Secure Connect bundle. Go to the home page of Astra. Okay, so I go to the home page of my database. Okay, if you are already on the home page, don't hesitate to refresh. Okay, because the Secure Connect Bundle link is there, authentication. And this link expires every 5 minutes. Okay, once you have downloaded the secure bundle, you're done. Forever, you can always connect with the zip. But to avoid any scrapping, the link is just ephemeral, and so just add refresh before clicking to get the Cloud Secure Bundle. So here I clicking and see my Secure Connect bundle is there. I simply download that. As a remark, so the file is named secure-connect- the name of your database. So my database is named DevWorkshopDB. I think yours is called Killer Video Cluster, and the name should be Killer Video Cluster, Secure Connect Killer Video Cluster. But no, it doesn't matter which name it is, because in the exercise we will map this name to the code. Okay?
Just remember where you downloaded it to, so you can upload it into GitHub. So you need to know
exactly
where it is.
So I'm taking my time. So no question for download secure bundle. I think everybody could have followed with me along. So now I do have secure connect bundle locally on my machine. Go back to the exercise. Step 3C, upload the zip to Gitpod. Okay, you really need this file to work on Gitpod. Okay, so first things to do is select one of the folder in the tree. So I will select week 3 app dev CRUD because I like to have my secure connect bundle at the same level as week 3. But that's totally up to you. You can also put the zip at the root of the repo or anywhere else. Simply remember the location. So how I do that? I go to Gitpod, see? I'm clicking week 3, like that, okay? And then I'm doing file, upload file, and I will look for secure connect dev workflow DB. Open, okay? And now you can see that the file is there. And if I'm using the terminal, can I make that bigger? If I go to week 3 folder, okay, and list the value there, I do have my file. Okay? So next step is in the code, I need to provide the path for this file. So I use pwd just as a trick, because now I know my file is in workspace, Cassandra Workshop series, week 3, and then it will be the name of the file. So, okay, I've downloading the bundle. Step 2, I have upload the bundle in Gitpod. How do we go to Gitpod? You just join the stream, I guess. So to go to Gitpod, you simply go to open in Gitpod button just a few lines above. Okay, moving on. So now, this part was really everybody doing the same. And now you pick the language you like the most, Java, Node, or Python. If you don't know any of those, probably use Python, because maybe this is the simplest one to start with, even if Node is very simple as well. And Java the greatest, as usual. I'm just a Java geek, so yeah. Joe, I will go that route.
Python's fine.
yeah, Python's fine as well, yeah. Okay, and so it will open a new, so you click and it will open a new file because there is a dedicated README for each language. So I will do in front of you the Java one. Okay, Java, blah, 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 connectivity to Cassandra. But I'm doing the Java, but most are the same. First is to locate the file called DB connection. And in Java is dbconnection.java, in Python db_connection.py, and in Node.js db_connection.js. and see there are 4 variables to update. Okay, killer video, KV password, killer video. Those are probably the values you want to use. See, and also the workspace, Cassandra Workshop series, week 3, CRUD, secure connect bundle, killer video cluster. Those are also probably the values you want to use. But that's totally depend of what you set up, how you set up your Astra instance.
Whatever you use, it's case sensitive.
Yes.
And be absolutely sure about the spelling, right?
Exactly. All right. Okay. Let's do it. I'm in Gitpod. All right. I will look at this file. So CRUD Java. I picked the Java. I chose the Java route. And dbconnection.java. Here it is. So as you can see, the path is totally not what you want because it's using my own local path on my machine. I committed that, okay, on purpose. I just want to make you work a little bit. And I will use...
Let me just, Cedric, sorry, just because we have so many people asking that you zoom in a little bit.
Okay.
So sorry to interrupt you. Right
of course. No. Don't hesitate to interrupt me. That's, you know, we are doing that for you guys. So, all right. So I will make the terminal smaller. And here it is. So first is I need to provide the path for the zip. So as you can see, I've used some pwd command just to be able to copy the path because I'm a lazy guy. And a good developer knows how to copy paste, right? Okay, so now I do have my path and the name of the file, secure connect bundle. Copy. And go to the end. Paste. Okay. To do user, and you will use KV user, KV password, but you know that all. This is how my own Astra instance is set up. And then don't forget to save. Autosave is not enabled by default. So to save, if you are on Windows, Control S, and if you are Mac, Command S. Okay. Don't forget to save.
Or go to the file menu and save it from there, but
yes.
really important, don't forget to save.
Yeah, save. Okay.
Save.
Yeah, it's saved. All right. So now I will compile my application. So it's Maven clean compile for Java. For other, there is for, okay, this guy, oh, you know what? I was not in CRUD Java, so that makes sense. Totally expected error, was not in the proper folder, okay? And now I will build. So first time I'm downloading all the dependencies. And now I should be able to execute the test. So for the Java, the tests are in src test Java, C, and the test is connect to Cassandra. I simply want to show you what it looks like. So what I'm doing, first I'm doing some assertion to check that you have properly filled the DB connection class. Then I check that the path you enter exists. And if not, I just told you I didn't find the file, probably the wrong path. And then I'm using the code I show you in the slide to connect to Astra. And if everything's fine, I should have connected with keyspace. Okay, so to execute this unit test, I provide you the command. You simply have to copy paste here. Copy, paste. Oh, thinking of which, you can totally open the, you can probably just open the README in Gitpod and stay in Gitpod. Okay. So this is what you expect. You expect in the terminal to have something called start exercise, telling you that the file has been located and you are now connected to Cassandra. All right, so this was Java. So if I go to DB connection, here, this is a path. I should be able to do the same, let's say, with Node. You know, DB connection.js, this is a path. You don't have to do the exercise for all languages, but because you are probably doing the exercise at the same time as me and I'm going fast, I have time to just do it in 2 languages. So CRUD node, don't remember to npm install, okay, to download the dependencies. So as you can see, Gitpod is pretty neat because now you do have Python, Node, and Java install. And you will do, and now also see, with Node.js, I am connected to Astra, simply provided the same path, okay? And I could do the same for Python, but you got the idea. Those are projects you can import locally. By the way, I do have my IDE, Eclipse, where I have imported CRUD Java. And if so this time I'm using local path, which is totally fine because I'm local, and I can run the unit test. Same. See? And I reproduce the same behavior as Gitpod. Success. Right. Okay? Are we good? Okay, more detail for without secure connect bundle. So anyway, I can go back quickly there. So if you are not using Astra, instead of providing the secure connect bundle, you will provide contact points, providing IP of the node, and that's it. You know, just so you don't have any zip. It's the same dependency, it's the same library, only the connection string, you know, the code to connect is you just swap with secure connect bundle with add contact point, or here provide the contact point. How do we use multiple contact points? Yeah, so probably you just join KK party. So to add multiple contact points, for Python you use an array, for Node you use an array, and for C# and Java, because it's a Fluent API, you just add contact point, add contact point, add contact points. And for the
that's just a comma-separated list for Python and for Node.
Yeah.
So a comma-separated list of the contact points.
Yeah. And so that's, and I see the question from Kiran. Can you provide the full sample, Angular, and everything? Guess what? This is next week. And if you want some spoiler alert, you can go to week 4, and here you do have the sample with the backend Java, C#, Node, and the front end is Angular. Which one is React? So yes, I do have a full stack, and it's next week. But I also do have more full stack samples on the same account in GitHub. So github.com/datastax-academy or datastax-examples, and here you have a lot of samples for you. Okay, so next, now you are connected to Cassandra. Let's execute some queries, right? So you can go and execute simply CQL, query Cassandra language, but hey, then you can have some SQL injection attack. So first reflex is to externalize all the parameters using interrogation mark. So here is example, 4 languages. For the Java one, at least, you can also, instead of using question mark, using a label, so semicolon label name, and instead of add position value, it would be add named value, as you would prefer. So, but what's important is the query you executed against Cassandra is what we call a statement, the statement object. And in this statement object, before firing the query, you can add metadata, like what is the consistency level of your my query? What is a timeout? Do I want to use paging? How many items should I put in my page? All these information are part of the statement. We will show that in a minute. But first things to consider here is everything you execute against Cassandra behind the scene is an object and it's a statement. How to connect to Python. Yeah, so yeah, we explained that. All right, prepare and bound statements. Now, each time you execute a statement against Cassandra, Cassandra needs to validate the syntax of the query. So if it is a proper Cassandra query management statement, if the table names exist, if the column name exists and are part of the table, all this validation takes some time. To avoid to do those validation each time, you can and you should prepare your statement. So at application launch, you will get your statement and invoke session.prepare. What it will do is do all the validation for you and then store at Cassandra level something called a prepare statement ID. And now, when you need to execute this query, you will simply provide the prepare statement ID and the parameter using bound statement, and it will send only the information to Cassandra, and your query go much faster. Okay? So, best practice, if you can, and if you know the query before, not dynamic or anything, prepare your statement. It makes the query faster. Okay. Now, when you are building a full stack app, as stated by some comment before, you want to interact with a table, and you always want to do the same operation: create, read, update, delete, CRUD. And there is a pattern for that, and it's called the repository pattern. Very famous in Java, C# world, in Ruby as well. In Ruby, it's called active record. Same ID. The method can and should be normalized for every table. So you define T, which is the entity, okay, which is kind of the object reflect of the table, and ID is the identifier of your entity, which is your primary key. And you implement always the same method. So find by ID, save, delete, update. Okay, that's CRUD. And then to list and select and search, you can have one to multiple method. You can have the find all, but you can also create your own method with proper filters. Get all the journey for a spacecraft. Then it will be list journey, and you provide the spacecraft name as input. That's the ID. And depending on, whatever the language, this repository pattern is a go-to. I will talk a little bit about Spring in the end. You will see that Spring chosen the same path. And by the way, the Java driver is very well integrated with Spring Data Cassandra now. And we do have an episode released this week. I think it's 10-minute format on this YouTube channel, because this YouTube channel is not only this workshop we are doing twice a week. We're providing a lot of information. And so this week I was in an interview with the creator of Spring Data Cassandra to just see how well we integrate both worlds. So you should consider to subscribe to the YouTube channel just to don't miss this new content we are releasing. That being said, your turn to work. So now you are connected with Cassandra. Let's do the step we did in the notebook. Create a journey, take off, save speed, temperature, pressure, and location multiple times, and then landing. See, create update. There is no read again. It's really create update. So let's see. I can use either my IDE or Gitpod. Let's use my IDE. All right, so this is my IDE. So what I'm doing now for everybody following, I'm going to exercise number 4 in the GitHub. Create, read, update, delete, okay? And first thing, they just ask me to insert a new journey. So this is exercise number 3, insert a new journey. So that this guy will do is, again, connect to Astra, all right? And then we will define a spacecraft named Crew Dragon Endeavour SpaceX. Is it big enough? Yeah, I think it is. I like using Eclipse IDE because then it's a bit bigger than Gitpod. Okay. All right, and then I will invoke my repository to create the spacecraft, to save. Okay. So if I go there, you can see that I do have a method called cql.execute. Remember, execute something. And here, instead of providing the string, I externalize just for you to, think a little bit what should be the CQL statement to insert a journey. And it's at the bottom of the class. You want to insert into spacecraft catalog, providing the name, the journey, active in the summary, and do not provide start, stop, or anything like that. And so this is what I'm doing. I'm simply provide the parameter with add positional value, exactly in the same code as you saw, and I will execute that. And all the exercise reuse the connectivity we defined in the exercise before, so you don't have to do it again and again and again. Now it will be done for every stuff. Okay, I do have my journey created. So let's see. This is my spacecraft and this is my journey ID. You know what? Let's go. I'm going, just to give you time, I'm going to Astra somewhere. I will open a new window and I say select star from where, and I know that, okay, I will maybe be a little bit lazy and put an existing query. Okay, and now I know that my spacecraft is Crew Dragon Endeavour SpaceX, and the journey ID is 8DF, and I'm copy. And so if I paste, okay. So seems good. I have executed my unit test, and now I do have a new record in my database. Totally fine. Let's moving on. Okay, so that was 4A, and I executed something to create a journey. 4B. Now I want to make my rocket taking off. So I want to execute 5B taking off. But I will reuse my journey ID. This journey ID has been generated for me. See, it's displayed in the log. And same for Python and Node. Each time we want to copy the journey ID because it has been generated for you, and go to the class and say, oh, so Crew Dragon Endeavour X always the same. I don't need to change. Or you may have changed that when you did exercise number 3, but never mind. And here I'm providing the proper journey ID. Okay. Then what will the exercise do? Taking off. So if I go to takeoff method, what is the SQL statement? Update, set active is true, and provide a start date. This sample is pretty neat because we are interacted with time UID and timestamps. So it's not a basic use case. Here you do also have user-defined tab. It's a pretty good and broad sample for using the drivers. Okay, so I will execute my query number 4. Take off. Let's see how it goes. All right, after the ignition, now my rocket is now take off. If I go back to Astra, where is my studio again? Here. And I re-execute my command. Now you see that the journey is active and I do have a start date. Right, great. Okay, so I've executed an update, right? Perfect. Exercise number 4, cleared. Moving on. 4C. Now I want to travel, okay? So I want to simulate some sensor readings and send that to Astra. Okay, so query 4C travel. 4C travel, okay. I can reuse the journey ID here. See, I define a constant named journey ID. That way I don't have to copy paste the journey ID in single class. In every class with Java, you still have to do it with Python and Node, just to always work with your journey. Okay, so save the readings. As you can see, it's very complex code where I simply do a loop 50 times. And I'm introducing a little bit of randomness, But if the pressure is totally random like that, yeah, not good for the astronaut. That's totally random values, right? So we will do a better job next week with the real app where we do some random values, but in a range, just to have the proper showing on the UI.
Perhaps it's a good opportunity for you to be really creative and let us know what you do in in Discord.
Yes.
And we can incorporate it.
Yeah.
Show us what we can do.
Yeah. Also,
nice.
I'm using some stupid line trajectory, and it's even a straight line in one direction, and it's a 3D. You can totally draw a nice flight.
Yeah, we're open for suggestions. Put them into Discord for us and let's see whether we can incorporate them.
Yeah, Cedric, remind me not to get on the spacecraft when you're piloting. Yeah, sure.
No, definitely not.
I think, but at least for the speed, I put enough speed just to be able to get out of the Earth attraction, more than 27,000 kilometers per hour. That's funny. All right, so, and I log. So when I log, this one is pretty interesting. So if you have followed DS220 now, you know that batch statements are useful when you want to insert the same data or data very close in multiple tables. And so here, I show you how to use batch statement with the code. So we will insert speed, temperature, pressure at the same time using a batch statement. And I will also show you how to use a user-defined type. So that's pretty good sample code for you to move on with Cassandra. Okay, so let's see how it goes. I will go to Traveler and I will execute the code. Run as unit. All right. Okay, and now everything is recorded. So I do have the question here. Indeed, I have imported the CRUD Java in my Eclipse IDE. And to do that, I simply go to File, import project, import existing Maven project because it's a Maven project. Java, I'm using Java, but you know, for Python, same, you can import existing sources. Next, and I will simply go to week 3, see, Cassandra Workshop, week 3, CRUD Java, and I import this file. If you are using Python, you import Python and Node.js and so forth and so on. But my IDE is a Java IDE. I do have a Python IDE here as well, but I like Java better. Okay? All right. So seems like the readings are saved. So let's see in the database. So Studio, I will reuse the same journey. But this time I will query, let's say, the speed. So spacecraft, what do I have as table? Okay, schema. Speed over time, let's see. All right, not bad, not bad, not bad. I do have my 50 result as expected. Okay, now what we need to do is to land, because as of now the journey is still ongoing, active, and no end date. So I will move to exercise number 6, landing. And as you might guess, I'm using a query update set active equals false, and I provide an end date. You know, very close to taking off, of course. Just updating the flag. Okay, so landing, and I will just execute landing journey. All right, run as JUnit test. And now the journey has now landed. Seems like it's landed. So let's see in the tables. So now the journey is no more active, and I do have an end date. Great. Hopefully the astronauts are back to ISS now. But they are. I know they are. All right.
They'll never come home.
They are still, orbiting the Earth at the moment. Okay, that was all about create and update. Let's go for read. Read, parsing result and mapping. Okay. Right, when you execute a query, now a statement, you know that it is a statement, the result is called a result set. In this object, there are two parts. The first is the data you expect, the rows. We'll go to that in a minute. The second part is execution info. There you would have the response, the response time. You would have if the statement was applied or not. If you're using LWT, you will get the query trace if you ask for, and a lot of information useful. And there also you get the paging state. I will go there in a minute. Now, what about the rows? Well, we could have get you all the rows for your request, but maybe there is too much rows and it can be painful for your memory. This is the reason why every single request is paged in Cassandra. You can define the fetch size, the page size, when you define the statement. And so you don't get a list as a result. You get an iterable, which is kind of a cursor. That means when you reach the end of page 1, when you iterate of the item, the driver will fetch for you page 2 under the hood. But that also means that you can go back. If it's a REST API, for instance, you ask for page 1. In the result, you will get the data and also something called the paging state, to do paging. And in this paging state, which is a long binary that can be converted to a string, you get what is your query, what is the timestamp you use to execute your query, and where is the offset for the token you are using. That means even if you go back later on and ask for page 2, the driver will, and Cassandra is clever enough to go and fetch page 2, even if the full result set is still not hold in memory. It's all for a certain time, and then you get the timeout. All right, so this is how you work with a result set. You iterate over the rows, or if you know that there is a single row, you simply do row.resultSet.1. How would you know that there is a single row? Well, if you execute a query and provide the full primary key, you know that these ensure unicity and you are good to go. There is a sample and an exercise for that. If not, you simply just iterate of result, or you can have all the result by providing resultSet.all. But that's a bit dangerous. Not dangerous, you simply need to know what you are doing. If you are doing resultSet.all, it will fetch all the pages to get you a list, to move from a cursor to a list. So if you have billions of records, it can be painful. So there is a trick to just look for items what are in the page you just retrieved. And this is described in exercise 10 for today. Now you do have one row, one record. You can access every column by providing getString or using the name column in Node or Python. And as long as you're not putting some space in the column name, you should be fine to go. So best practice with Cassandra, don't use space in the column name. And don't use reserved keyword as well. All right. Okay, just checking. Yeah, nothing else to check. You see, you can retrieve any kind of data, so getString for text, for time UID, you do get UUID. There is nothing called get time UID, you just do get UID. And for timestamps, you just do row.get instant. I think at least in the Java world. Now, what about object mapping? Okay, so until now, we always provide the full Cassandra query language string. In the object-oriented languages, you would like to create an object, providing the attributes and the attribute matching the column of your tables. And then when you edit the object, save the object, you want to have the same things happening on your table. And as you can see, that's totally possible in all the languages we provide. And this is called an object mapper. So an object mapper is there to do the relation between table and object. And I can show you more into detail for the Java part. I can, on the right part of the screen, create an entity. So it's a spacecraft journey catalog. I've defined the spacecraft, I defined the spacecraft name. I've defined, now you know what's coming. I've defined the spacecraft name. I've defined the journey ID, start end as instant and summary. And then I don't have to write any SQL code anymore. The mapper will generate for me classes and code needed to execute these statements. Okay. So, before going to exercises, you know what's coming. Let's go for our quiz. Let's win some swag, will you? So, let me move to Mentimeter. So, again, same code, 920588. It's written everywhere. And let me move to, okay, get the focus. Yes. And let me move to quiz. 5-question quiz. And I will wait for you.
You get Cedric's lovely music with it.
Do you want some music? Yeah, no, I need. Do you want to sing, Bettina? To have something
no, you're doing
to
a better
sing.
job.
Okay, 74. We can do better. I saw you were almost 400 watching us. There is swag to win. Okay, so I will move to next, just waiting for people. I think I will get more people there. Yes. Okay, more people there. Yeah. So, some housekeeping to get started. If you look at your phone for the question, it's faster than looking at YouTube because YouTube has 1 second delay. We cannot do anything about that. It's the speed of light. Okay, so to get the answer as fast as possible, look at your phone or look at the browser you are using, not really the stream. The fastest you go, the more points, and then the winner, so 5 questions total, and the winner, I think the 3 winner will get a swag box. Okay? So seems like I need to press enter to start the quiz. All right. What do you need when connecting to Astra? Contact point IP, SSL certificate, secure connect bundle zip files, or handshake with sanitizer. 20 seconds. Oh, and I see Zia is back. Hi, Zia. A regular. Or just Zia just show up for the quiz, right? Just kidding. Yes, so
The MENTI.
I'm not playing today. That's not fair. I'm running the quiz. Okay, so most of you get it right. Secure connect bundle, indeed the zip file. I think we made it very explicit. So who was fastest? Okay, just Tom. So Tom is leading, but not a lot, see, not a lot of space over here. Okay, let's move to question number 2. How many session objects should you use in your app? 1 per application, as many as needed, 1 per connected client or customer. Should I have to do anything really? It's just your opinion. There is a trap. Don't go too fast. Yes, most of you had it right. Some, just go in the trap. Yeah, that's really 1 per application. And now, not 1 per people connected. SQL session is a singleton for your full app. Not only easy question, right? Okay, so Tom again. Tom were the fastest. Yes. Okay, Sudarashan. I won't try to spell your name, I will just scotch it, sorry. How do you define a proper Cassandra data model? With both application queries and entities as input, create entities and association tables, create entities and indexes. What is a data model already?
Please, nobody go for the last answer.
Oh no, 2
Not
just
after the
admitted.
last 2 weeks.
Oh dear. Okay, so indeed, if you look at the DS220 workflow and the workflow, I will stop calling it the DS220 workflow, the workflow to create a proper data model with Cassandra, you need both the application queries and the entities, conceptual data model. Good. Okay, so we have a new first position. All right. Next question. I think this was the third question. 2 remaining, right? Okay. What's object mapping used for? The object mapper. Helper to write SQL code, associate table to object, connect object to each other, finding object on a map. So please not the last one as well. And yes, good. That's indeed associating table and object. So, I think we are doing not a bad job today. Most of people get it right. And leaderboard. Yeah, and indeed, Sudarshan, you can have the dub sign on the YouTube. You're still leading, but you still have one question to go. Okay, last question. Why should you prepare your statement? To ensure they are ready for the stand stage, prepare statements are required. To speed up your queries, to properly cook them for guests, with a nice sauce and a glass of wine. Yes, good everyone, to speed up the queries. Okay, and now who? Okay. Yeah, I think we do have the winner. Oh, Tom was pretty close. Tom, make a comeback. So the 3 first can contact Jack Fryer on Discord to get the swag box. So good job, Sudarshan. I think you were leading most of the time. So congrats. Let's move on. With, you know what? An exercise. Now your time to work. Okay, and so we will move on with 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 exercise, which is all about read result. So let me go back to my IDE. Let's close all the file, make it clean, get some room, get some space. And now we will execute, remember the query 4A, 4B, 4C, all about read. So the first things we want to do is to list all the journey for a spacecraft. So for that we are using select star from catalog, and we only provide the partition key spacecraft name. As we do have a single journey, I will have only one. But you know what? I can totally insert a new journey using the same spacecraft name. Let's do that. Bananas unit. Just to have 2 results, okay? Okay, now I do have 2 journeys. So if I list the journeys for this spacecraft, let's see how it goes. Yeah, that's expected. I now have my 2 journeys. And if I execute the same here, so this time I don't provide this guy, I got my 2 travels. So this is the first one we did, and this one I've just created one, and it's not taking off. So this is the state we totally expect. Okay, so select star, get the partition, get the list. And so how do you display things? So see, I'm using rs.all. So I'm doing all because I know that there are not a lot of records, and I will get everything with the first page. Like, I know what I'm doing. And I'm querying on the partition key. So I also know that I will get all the results in one go because I'm contacting a single node. See, this is the reason why we just did week 1 and week 2 what is a partition, what is a proper data model. Now you get the feeling, you know why we're doing those stuff. So I get rows, and rows I get the time UID with a UUID and a string like that, and then simply display journey and summary. Okay, that was query 4a. Let's go for query 4b. Get the detail of a journey. Okay, so now it will look like, the query we just, this is this one. We want to execute this one because now we want all this, we want every single detail providing the full primary key. So we know that the result will be alone, a single result, or no result at all. If I change that by a C, no result. Okay, so we expect to have one item or nothing. So to do that, in the Java world, I'm using an optional, okay, from Java 8, which in Java 8 is already deprecated now. Let's say Java 11, which is not at all the latest, but still the most used, I guess. Okay, so I just look at, so I execute the statement, which one because I just show you. And if there is something, I map the journey into an object. So see, I'm not using an object mapper for this exercise. Next week, when we will have the full working app, those mapping from tables to entity will be done with the object mapper. But here, let's take our time step by step. I want you to have sample code for any pieces of the drivers. So here I'm just using a utility class to map the journey from the row to the object. And so I get read detail journey. Now I get an optional, and if it's present, I list the detail. So let's see how it goes. Okay, not bad. Seems like we do have what expected. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we started at 8:11 and ended at 8. Yep, totally expected. We do have the proper value. Nice. Okay. Now let's go for the last query for today, which is get the matrix. Now I will execute this query. I will provide a partition key for the matrix and get all the values for my journey. Here I do have 50 results, but in real life you probably have thousands and thousands of results. So if again you are doing select everything, maybe this time you need some paging. So let's see how we do paging altogether. So exercise 9, we are doing the exercise without the paging. So we simply do select star from the spacecraft, providing the partition key. I'm still using add position value. Now you got it. And I execute. I get the statement and see no paging. I'm just say again rs.all. So this time, I need to be careful because if I have thousands and thousands of record, I will go fetch page 1 and then page 2 and page 3 so no out of memory, but still I need to figure this out. Maybe in the statement I should put some page size or fetch size just to see how much chunk do I want to retrieve. So what is a proper balance between volume and speed? So here 50 is not a lot. I will not put a page size. I will do that in the next. Okay, and I execute this. And as you can see, I'm simply listing all the items. I just use some kind of if set trick to I could also use for int to 1 to 50 and get the value. Okay? All right, 50 values. Now, what about using paging? Okay, make some room, clean everything. Become a lot on the screen. Let's go to last exercise, exercise number 10. So now I'm executing exactly the same query, right? Providing spacecraft and journey ID. But this time, I will explicitly say I want my page size to be 10. Maybe it's 5 in Node.js and Python exercise, I don't remember. I think we put 5. Okay, in Java I put 10. And then I will execute my statement. Now you can tell in the result set, you still have your rows, okay, but you have the paging state. It's a byte buffer, it's a binary, but you can convert that in a string, using bytes.2x string and get bytes, okay? So if you are using, for instance, a REST API and you want to return the paging state in a JSON format, you will convert that binary in this X string. You don't have to use base 64 on your own, it's provided by the driver. Okay, second is, look at that. Now I also have a value, get available without fetching. So I know how much time do I have in my page 1. If get available without fetching is the same value as page size, there is probably a page 2 because the page is full. But if the number is lower, then the page is not full and I don't need to fetch the next page. Okay. To use that with Node.js and Python, you would simply say result set dot current row dot length if you're using a Node. Okay, and now I show. So here in my iterator, and it's instead of just going to infinite, I will go to available without fetching. I want only page 1. Okay. So I want only item in page 1. If the page is full, I will get the full value. If I only have 5 over 10, I will fetch the 5. Okay. Before running the test, okay. This paging state should be saved at the application level, okay? And now you come back and you want next page. You can reuse totally the same object, remember the statement, and you just provide the paging state, telling the driver, so now you will not start at the beginning, you will start at this paging state. Remember, paging state gives you the offset of the token you are looking for and also the timestamp. So even if some records have been inserted in between, because the query is executed with timestamp, you should have the same state of the page 1, even if something happened in between. That's the magic of Cassandra. Everything is happen only, so we can go back to the past. All right, and so I'm doing the same. I'm fetching page 2 and so forth and so on. And so let's see how it's looking. Yeah, so page 1 is that, page 2 is that. And because, okay, see the time, reading time is a clustering colon desk. So as you can see, page 1 goes to 1550, and then page 2 go on, is not the same value. Of course, but no cheating here. We are doing real stuff. All right. Any question, Bettina, at this point? Or people just doing exercise like crazy? Yeah, no,
I don't see any.
All right.
But
yeah, I
think it looks pretty. Is everybody on board with the exercises, or have we lost you entirely? I mean, that's always a question.
I would
give us a shout in
the
chat.
Yeah. Oh, where is the page size 10? It's over here. Statement set.state page size. That's one of the metadata you provide when you execute the statement. Okay. All right, nice. Also, those are just exercise we are providing for the workshop. When you are doing the exercise now or as homework, we accept pull requests. You should play with that as well, you know.
Yes, please. Give us some of your ideas. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Last but not least, I will dig a little bit more into Java. Because if you're a Java developer, well, you know that there is a famous framework called Spring. Spring is everywhere, and Spring provides tools to work with databases, including NoSQL databases. And the framework is called Spring Data. And so you can find Spring Data Cassandra, Spring Data MongoDB, Spring Data Redis, Spring Data multiple NoSQL database. And so here it works, and in a microservice Spring Boot application, you can have the CRUD we just defined together, or you can use Spring Data to define the repository. Both are possible, okay? And in the GitHub account we are using, you find a lot of sample codes using either Spring Data Cassandra or the native driver. Also, I told you before, but you do have an interview with the creator of Spring Data Cassandra on the same YouTube channel, released this week. You can go there and fetch. And also on the Spring blog, on the VMware Tanzu website, there is a long blog post how to use Cassandra with Spring Data Cassandra, and even moving that into Kubernetes. But guess what? This is what we will do in the next weeks. So how do you do? Well, Spring Data is all about either convention or configuration. You simply import the Spring Data Cassandra dependency in your app and provide the proper keys. So it works both with Astra and Cassandra on-premise. So here you see the on-premise, and here the same with a Java config. So the Spring Data Cassandra released working very well with the latest version of DataStax driver is Spring Data 3.0. Okay, and it has been released, I think, 2 months ago. Again, a lot of sample codes available. Ping me or ping anyone on Discord, and I will give you direct link to run a full sample using Spring Data with what we showed you. Again, today is CRUD, but next week's full stack samples, step by step. Okay. Once you have defined your configuration, you will create entities exactly the same way as entities with object mapper, but using Spring Data annotation like that, entity ID. It's a different set of annotation working the same. And then you create a real repository using the CRUD repository or Cassandra repository from Spring Data. And here you go. You can get your optional find by task or find all or anything working the same as the object mapper. And now, because the DataStax driver, I made some evolution doing that, Spring Data also use prepare statement. It was not the case before. So the DataStax driver used to be fastest because we tend to prepare the statement and use. Now Spring Data can do the same. So it should be a little faster to move to Spring Data 3.0. All right. With the 10 minutes left, now let's talk about the homework. Okay. So we know that DS220 is long, and this is the reason why we ask you to do only, the looking at the video in the previous week. So you can keep working on it. You can start doing the exercise if you wish. You have touched some code today, so we provide you more codes on DataStax-examples. You should browse, navigate, run the sample, and again, ask us questions if you don't manage to run those samples. The idea is really to give you everything you need to start your app very quickly with Cassandra. And then, of course, practice. Finish the exercise we are doing with the workshop. So it does not mean doing all the exercise for all language. Pick the language you like and do the exercise. They are all the same languages. Then, if you are done and if you still want to make things a bit harder, now run the same on your laptop. So you will import the project on your IDE like I did. You will download the secure cloud bundle on your laptop, use the pass from your laptop and work like that. And bonus of the bonus, for people asking how to run that locally on anything, on the GitHub repo, I provide you a Docker Compose file to have a 3-node cluster running on your local machine. And so your job would be to change the code to now fit the new configuration and connect locally instead of Astra, switching back from Cloud Secure Bundle to contact points. And last but not least, we do have the validation form of the week. And so in the validation form, you will find a few questions as usual about if you pay attention during the workshop, a couple of questions on DS220, and at last, 3 open questions to engage with us. So for those who like those workshops, tell us how we should improve. So first, tell us about what is the use case you can find for Cassandra, if you find some, or assess one. What is your vision and future of cloud native? Because we will move in cloud native in the coming weeks. The idea is really the application we are building should be shipped and deployed in the cloud. And how to do that? And we will use container, Kubernetes, and we expect you everything along those lines. So the workshop, again, is not only about Cassandra. It's also all about the cloud native. And last, share with us what you need to succeed with Cassandra, what we missed. So operation will come in the second part, mostly using Kubernetes, and as homework you will have the DS210 to do, which is deep dive into operations. And with that, we would have you totally covered to pass the certification beginning of September. Again, if you do have questions during the week, go to community.datastax.com. There, we are there all week long to answer questions with proper code, links, and everything. academy.datastax.com to take the courses. And also, we have released a new website, a new part of the website, datastax.com/dev, where you can do exercises live. Again, you don't need anything, you don't need to install anything, and you can start playing with the drivers as well. It's not using Gitpod, it's using something called Katacoda. You should have a look, it's pretty fun as well, and a lot of scenario, so meaning exercise ready, and this time you just click, click, click and go. If you like the content, please follow us on either YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter, and as usual, all the material, slide, code is available on our GitHub link right here. And with that, I think I'm done with the slide. Any comment, Bettina?
Are we done?
I think we are done. Any comment?
Looks all good. I don't see any burning questions. So if you want to put some more questions into the chat,
we do have
if
2
you
or
want
3
our
minutes
attention.
to go. But that's also, Jeremy and Eric answering all the questions like crazy. So we have no job. We have no more job, guys. Thank you for that.
And if you, if you struggle with any of the stuff or have any feedback or want some more detailed answers, please just post it on community, and we really want to help you. We want you to be successful with that.
Yes, and so all the sample and exercise we did today is based on the drivers, of course, the 4 drivers. And to download the drivers, you use a package manager, as you can see, npm install for Node, pip install for Python, Maven for Java, and NuGet for C#. So those are available on public repository. You can still go and download it on datastax.com website if you will, but that's much easier to use a package manager. All right, so I think we are done. So everyone, thank you very much for your time. I hope you enjoy. Click the thumb up button if you like the content. Subscribe to the channel to not miss any new session. And until then, see you next week. Have a good week.
See you next week.
Bye, everyone.